Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Grand Rising, today is a new day to start again. It is 12/12/2024. Yesterday flew by. Time has been very weird recently. For me, the last 3 months prior to December went by faster than any 3 months of my life. But then at the start of December, it seemed like it slowed down. But yesterday did not. I woke up at the crack of dawn and it ended with a 4-hour dart match that was almost unbearable. My partner literally on his third dart several times just kind of was like, done, because it took forever. I don't want to get into it, but it was just not very much fun, honestly, because I had to do it as obligation because I signed up for it. But anyways, we've also still got a long way to go on that dart league, which also seems very daunting, but we'll make it work. I had a good attitude, but sometimes he wasn't, everybody was a little bit frustrated with it. That's a long time to have to play darts at the end of a day that was already pretty long. Anyways, there was a very annoying guy that we were playing against that was rubbing my partner the wrong way, which is part of why. And then I only interacted with him once, but he brought up, basically, he was talking. It's so strange how you get in weird conversations and I can hear things, but he started to talk about brain development, the effects of marijuana on brain development, and what the experts have found. And I don't really resonate with most of that. And I tried to just plant a seed with him that I believe in mind over the brain, and explain that a lot of it is just data points that they're looking at whenever they're observing, and they're making correlations. And the entire idea of correlation does not mean, it can possibly mean just coinciding, which I've talked about in previous videos. This has really got deep. But when I said mind over brain, he rolled his eyes at me, and I knew that at that point we weren't going to be able to have much of a conversation. So I'm starting to stand and walk a little different, and I can feel it. Like I have way more confidence. It's so silly what money does to a person. There's snow on the ground, and winter is here. If you believe that we are synapses, like in the brain, like those impulses, if you think that we are synapses and hormones, all the biochemistry, and you think that's what we are, and it's all a result of natural selection and behavior that we basically grow into and modify as we are going, because we have the ability with our brains. If that's your worldview, it's understandable, but I can't reach you. We won't understand each other. I've tried to penetrate through giving a different perspective, but it's so hard because it just gets immediate backlash, and it's hard to articulate that basically the foundation of the belief system that you're trying to talk against is founded with an error, a logical error. And most people that are already that far above, I've talked about it sometimes when you're talking to people and you got two different trees and you could talk right here, but you end up going like this, and then you're talking about branches up here that have nothing to do. They're nowhere near each other, and they're never going to be able to find, because you really have to get back to here and the core of each question one at a time, and that's slow and boring. Natural law will stabilize. Data tells a story. That's what I left with him when he was talking about it. And we went briefly down a conversation with this guy that was kind of weird. And we basically just talked a little bit about how the data and how they look at that data and interpret it. And what I was telling him is that it tells a story. It reinforces a story that really, I didn't get to this part, but actually it always comes back to money. Was the seed that I planted going to help? I have no idea. I doubt it. Comfort leads to compliance. I think that's the main thing I've learned of our society today. Getting people comfortable helps them to comply. And they are getting to more automated, being able to function the things that will be able to run our society without people. And I don't know what's going to become of that if nobody has any jobs to do. They're going to give them jobs one way or another. I think back to an older gentleman that I played poker with back in St. Louis. When I was playing a lot, he would be at the table every once in a while. He wore a baseball cap. He was just a cool older guy. He was very wealthy, obviously. And we would talk while we were playing. And I think he had a kind of a likeness to me. We played similar at the poker table. But he basically just embodied a life of happiness. And he was enjoying it. But it was crazy to me because, like, at one point, the last time I played with him, I started talking to him about, like, has he ever had a bologna sandwich? And he was like, you know what? I haven't. And I asked him if he'd ever struggled in his life, if he'd ever had any financial struggles. And he looked back through it for a minute and he was like, no, I've never had any financial problems ever in my life. And some people just get to live that and enjoy it. But I don't know. What does that do? He seemed to be a good person and to basically give. I mean, he never is without, but he always has something to give to the people that are around him. He also still had the part of the problem is people don't want to work kind of attitude. And that he got to where he is because of his hard work and effort, which probably is true. That's the problem with capitalizing. There's so many churches. That's what's incredible to me, how many churches, when you drive around. I don't drive, I ride my bike and walk, but when you're walking around, there's like a church on every corner. It's so crazy. Who built all these churches? They were devoted, for sure. You had to build a church, you got to have a bunch of people that go to it, for sure, I would think. Built by devoted people that are just different than they are today. The farther back you go in history, the more it is a story. The Google phenomenon is 1984. Like, it's changing our history and our narratives. Data tells a story. It creates a narrative. The data mining that was captured during COVID, I can't even comprehend. I think that was probably the biggest thing that happened during COVID, was the ability to infiltrate our patterns as a society during very out of character. There was a lot that was done during that, and it probably will be utilized. Everybody should know. Out of the blue, from left field, a rabbit out of the hat. If I can leave one thing behind for others to find, it would be love. It would be a wink, a smile, and I know you can do it. I know you can. I have a hug for you if you need me. I've been saying it for a long time. If you can feel my hug, then I've done my job. My mom and my dad left me with that, and that is what I have to give. And these videos. I do these videos for me, myself, and you. to remind myself to be grateful, to be grateful. Do great, be great. I didn't get it under 10 minutes. Long-winded is what I am, but we're going to roll with it. Have an awesome day out there.